Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. You're listening to Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arias Thomas, and this is today's Cybersecurity Report, being brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option.
Listening to Cyber FM, hosted by Arias Thomas.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arias Thomas, and I'm glad that you're here. It's Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. The machines are humming, the coffee's hot, and somewhere out there, an attacker is having a very good week and hoping you're having a distracted one. This is the show dedicated to reporting on cyber warfare, and today we've got 4 fresh stories straight off the wire, and here they are. A stealthy attacker who slipped into the control center of a company's entire network months before anyone knew the flaw existed, seized total control and then carefully erased their own footprints on the way out. A rare piece of good news. A sweeping global police operation that dismantled the machinery behind some of the most widely used credential-stealing malware on Earth, seizing servers, freezing millions in crypto, and clawing back 27 million stolen passwords. We also have a piece of North Korean Mac malware clever enough to try gaslighting the tools that security researchers use to examine it, and a critical, actively exploited hole in the Oracle software that quietly moves money for some of the biggest companies on Earth. A hijacked network brain, a cybercrime assembly line dismantled, malware that lies to the analyst, and a payment system under live fire. 4 battles, 1 front. Let's begin.
Story number 1. The ghost in the network's brain. A Cisco zero-day exploited for months in silence.
Our first story is a quiet, patient, professional break-in, the kind that keeps network defenders up at night. Google's Mandiant team has revealed that an unknown attacker exploited a flaw in Cisco's Catalyst SD-WAN manager as a zero-day for at least 2 months before the world even knew the vulnerability existed. An SD-WAN manager isn't just any box. It's the central brain that controls an organization's entire wide area network, the single dashboard from which configuration gets pushed out to every edge device on the network. Here's how the intrusion unfolded, and it reads like a heist. The attacker first got in with administrator access, then changed the default admin password to lock defenders out. From there, they exploited the flaw, now tracked as CVE 2026-20-245, by uploading a booby-trapped file, in this case a comma-separated spreadsheet mischievously named evil_tenant.csv. That let them escalate from admin all the way to root, the highest level of control, and quietly minted themselves a hidden new super user account named Root. They exfiltrated the network's configuration, the master blueprint, and then here's the chilling touch. They changed the admin password back to its original value so that when a real administrator logged in, absolutely nothing will look out of place. And the cleanup was every bit as disciplined as the break-in. Through the whole operation, the attacker backed up files before altering them and restored them afterward, deleted everything they'd created, reversed their configuration changes, and then ran a script specifically to verify no evidence remained. Mandiant's blunt warning to anyone who might have been affected is the line to remember. Because the attacker was designed to leave no trace, a clean log review does not prove you're safe. Researchers call this the living off the edge playbook. Attackers deliberately targeting network appliances precisely because those devices can't run the security monitoring software that watches everything else. This, by the way, is the 7th Cisco SD-WAN flaw flagged as exploited this year alone. So here's the takeaway. If your organization runs a Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN, patch to the fixed software versions now. Cisco has released them. Then treat this as an investigation, not just as a patch. Rotate your admin credentials, lock management access down to a trusted, isolated network, and comb your systems for rogue accounts and unexpected peering connections that shouldn't be there. And the broader lesson to open up today's show, the edge of your network, which are the routers, the gateways, and the controllers, has become the attacker's favorite hiding spot for exactly one reason. It's the one place your security tools aren't looking. Absence of evidence on gear like this is not evidence of absence.
Story number 2, dismantling the assembly line. A global takedown of the cybercrime supply chain.
Story number 2 is a rare thing on this show. Mostly good news. A coalition of police forces led by Europol, working with the Dutch National Police, Microsoft, and a long list of partners, has struck a major blow against the plumbing that a huge slice of the cybercrime world runs on. They're calling it the latest phase of Operation Endgame, and this round went after 3 of the most widely used malware families out there: StealthC, Amaday, and GASLIGHT. To understand why this matters, you have to understand how modern cybercrime works, like an assembly line, with each tool doing one job. GASLIGHT is the lure. Those fake "your browser needs an update" pop-ups that trick you into running malicious code. Amaday is the foot in the door, a loader that gets a foothold on your machine and then pulls down whatever comes next. And StealthC is the thief at the end of the line. It quietly harvests your saved passwords, your browser cookies, your session tokens, and your cryptocurrency wallet, then ships them off to be sold. These aren't built by lone hackers. They're rented out to criminals as a paid service, which is what makes them so widespread. In just the first 2 weeks of May, these tools were linked to over 140,000 infected computers worldwide. Here's what the takedown actually accomplished. Investigators disrupted 326 servers, seized 142 domains, and froze more than 41 million euros, which is about $47 million, in cryptocurrency. And they recovered roughly 27 million stolen login credentials pulled from more than 385,000 compromised systems. The strategy here is the clever part. Rather than chasing individual criminals one at a time, they went after the shared infrastructure the whole ecosystem depends on, the assembly line itself, which makes it far harder for anyone downstream to simply rebuild and carry on. So here's the takeaway, and it's genuinely actionable. Because so many credentials were recovered, the Dutch police have set up a site, polite.n-l/checkghack, where you can check whether your stolen data turned up in this haul. It's worth a look. Either way, this is a good week to change passwords on the accounts that matter the most, especially email, banking, and crypto, and to turn on 2-factor authentication if you haven't. Stay sharp about those fake update your browser prompts and about pirated software and game mods, which are classic delivery vehicles for exactly this malware. In the broader lesson, taking down shared infrastructure is the right playbook. It raises the cost for everyone at once, but a takedown is not a cure. The passwords already stolen are still out there, and these criminal services have rebuilt before. A win, yes, but the kind you have to follow up on yourself.
Story number 3. Gaslighting the machine, North Korean Mac malware that attacks the AI examining it.
Story number 3, hands down, one of the most inventive pieces of malware we've come across, and it flips the script on the whole AI story. Researchers at Sentinel Labs discovered a new Mac backdoor they've named macOS.GASLIGHT, assessed with high confidence to be the work of North Korean operators. Most malware tries to hide from the automated sandbox that runs it. This one does something new. It tries to gaslight the human analysts' AI tools into doubting their own eyes. Here's how it works and why it's so clever. When a suspicious file lands on a researcher's desk, more and more of them now lean on AI assistants to do the first pass, reading the file, summarizing what it does, flagging the dangerous parts, etc. macOS.GASLIGHT was built with that workflow in mind. Buried inside the program is a cascade of 38 fake system failure messages carefully formatted to look like the internal error scaffolding of an AI triage tool. The idea is to make the AI reviewing the file believe its own session is broken, so it aborts or refuses the analyst and quietly waves the file through before a human ever sees the verdict. It's not attacking the computer, it's attacking the AI's perception of reality, hence the name. Now, 2 things to keep in proportion. First, researchers say it did not actually fool any real production AI analyst tool in their testing. This is an experiment, not a proven bypass. But, and this is the part to sit with, an earlier version of this malware used just a single one of these fake messages, and this one stacks a 38. In other words, they're iterating, refining, and testing what works. Underneath the trick, it's a capable thief in its own right. It steals credentials and session data, opens a hidden shell, and phones home over Telegram. And its targets fit a familiar pattern. North Korea constantly goes after Mac users in crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, where a Mac's keychain can hold the keys to a fortune. So here's the takeaway. If you're a Mac user in crypto or fintech, drop the idea that Macs don't get malware. Keep Apple's built-in protections current, since they already flagged this family, and stay ruthless about unsolicited files from recruiters or partners, which is North Korea's signature way in. For security teams, the deeper lesson is architectural. Don't let an AI's tool's verdict be the last word on whether a file is safe. Keep a skeptical human in the loop. The broader thing to close this story on, as AI becomes part of our defenses, attackers will start treating it as an attack surface of its own. Every tool we've ever deployed at scale eventually drew return fire, and now they're aiming not at the machine, but at the mind of the machine watching it.
Story number 4. A hole in the money pipe. Oracle's payments flaw under live attack.
Our fourth and final story today is the plain old-fashioned kind. No AI anywhere in it, and it's a reminder that the fundamentals still bite hardest. There's a critical flaw in Oracle e-business suite, the sprawling software that huge organizations use to run their finances, and it's being actively exploited in the wild right now. The bug carries a severity score of 9.8 out of 10, about as bad as they come, and it sits in the payments component, specifically the piece that formats and transmits payment instructions, wire transfers, and bank files out to financial institutions. In other words, it lives right in the money pipe, and it's easy to abuse. An attacker with nothing more than a network connection, no username or no password required, can send a crafted request over the web and take over that payment system. Oracle shipped a patch back in late May, bundled with 76 other fixes. But this past week, threat intelligence firm Diffused Cyber caught attackers exploiting it live against their honeypot systems. And here's the twist. There's no public how-to guide and no proof of concept code floating around, which means whoever's behind this did the hard work themselves, reverse engineering Oracle's own patch to figure out what to attack. Internet scans found roughly 950 of these systems still running exposed online. This lands in an ugly stretch for Oracle's enterprise software. A different critical flaw in the same e-business suite was weaponized last year by the C10P ransomware group, and just this past month, a separate zero-day in Oracle's PeopleSoft software was exploited in a data theft campaign that hit the automaker Nissan, reportedly exposing employee payroll records and social security numbers across 4 countries. These payment and HR platforms sit at the absolute center of a business, which is exactly why attackers keep circling them. So here's the takeaway. If your organization runs Oracle e-business suite, this is a drop everything item. Confirm the May patch is actually applied. Don't assume it is, verify it. If you're running a public-facing payments instance and it doesn't strictly need to be reachable from the open internet, take it offline until it's patched. And the broader lesson to close out today's show, the attackers move in minutes headline isn't always true. Here, they took a couple of weeks to reverse engineer the fix, but that window is also roughly how long it takes a big company to safely test and deploy a patch. Waiting for proof that a flaw is being exploited before you treat it as urgent is a bet. And this week, a lot of unpatched companies are finding out they lost it. Today's episode is brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option. Your package has to get across the city quickly, safely, and in good hands. The RSSH is the name to know. They are New York's exclusive choice and the gold standard in delivery. Rain, shine, gridlock, or heat wave, it doesn't matter. The RSSH is the name that gets it there every single time. And that's our show for this Thursday, July 7th. Let's bring the front lines together because today's story run the full range, from a quiet break-in to a very loud victory. A stealthy intruder who owned the control center of an entire corporate network took root and then wiped the evidence so cleanly that the clean logs proved nothing. A sweeping global police operation that dismantled the shared machinery behind the credential-stealing malware criminals rent by the month and clawed back 27 million stolen passwords in that process. A piece of North Korean Mac malware so forward-thinking it tries to gaslight the very tools defenders use to catch it, and a critical unpatched flaw in the software that moves companies' money being exploited today by attackers who simply did their homework. The thread running all of this, the battleground keeps shifting to the places we aren't watching, the network's edge where our tools can't see, and the forgotten server we assumed was patched. But this week also proved that when defenders coordinate and go after the shared infrastructure, the fundamentals still hold. A stolen password, a fake update prompt, and an unpatched server are how nearly everyone gets in. So this week, patch and lock down the network gear at your edge, check whether your credentials turned up in that takedown, patch that payment system, and stay sharp about the update prompt that isn't really an update. New hiding spots, same doors, so lock them, please. This has been Cyber FM. I'm your host, Arias Thomas, and this show is brought to you by the RSSH Delivery Company, New York's exclusive delivery option. We'll catch you next time. Stay secure.
listening to Cyber FM, hosted by Arias Thomas.